All right, been given the thumbs up, so I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order or hearing to order. My name is Carl Granrath. I'm going to be the hearing examiner for tonight's hearing. The purpose of tonight's hearing is for me to gather evidence and testimony on the matter that is pending, and including the staff file that county staff has already given me about the project, together with the testimony I get tonight and anything else that may be submitted to the record. Put that all together in one record, and from that review and have up to 2 weeks in which I write a recommendation that I forward to staff that goes to your county commissioners, who will ultimately have the decision on this matter. So our general process for tonight is going to be that county staff will give a presentation giving an overview of the project, decision criteria, etc. And then the applicant will have an opportunity to make their own presentation, whether it's a PowerPoint or whatever form they'd like. I can and do ask questions whenever I feel it's appropriate. After that, we will have our opportunity for public comment. So I'll go over some of the particulars in that again, but basically I'm going to be calling people in the order that I have them here. I see a lot of people may wish to speak or did not wish to speak, but nonetheless, every name I have, I will call and give you an opportunity to speak. Each person has up to 5 minutes. I do generally ask that any comments you have, you try to direct towards me, but it is also an opportunity for you to ask questions because following public testimony, there's an opportunity for both the city and the applicant to give what we call rebuttal testimony, so they can essentially answer questions, or maybe there's something I noticed that should be further addressed by them. I'll direct them to answer to see how it develops. But generally, that's our process for today. So without further ado, I'll get us started. I guess I will officially open the public hearing for MSP 25-0005. Go ahead, Mr. Finkel.
Good evening. It's working. Good evening. Come on. Good evening. For the record, Vlad Finkel with Kootenai County Community Development. This is a request case number MSP 25-0005 Lydia Acres by RFI LLC. The subject request is located near the intersection or interchange of Highway 53 and Highway 95. It's located on the northwest corner of the interchange. The property comprises 30 acres. And before I get into the specifics of this request, I'd like to clarify that this parcel, the parent parcel for the subject major subdivision consisting of 6 residential lots, was created recently through a large lot exemption process. Based on my quick review of the chronological order on this request, staff conducted a pre-application meeting last April to discuss the potential of what can be done with this much larger piece of property that used to be one parcel of land. The applicants contemplated creating a mixed-use development. Their intent was to split out like a 30 here, a 20, and like a 20-plus acre parcel along Old Highway 95. This property here is split out by Old Highway 95. It's one parcel of land across the road, but it all used to be one parcel last spring. Their goal was to create, like I said, a mixed use development by rezoning these parcels that front Old Highway 95 as well as Highway 95 to more intense zoning classification. This parcel would be light industrial, and then this parcel would be rezoned to commercial. This application was moving forward concurrently with this rezone, or with this subdivision, and the hearing examiner, John Woodard, heard the rezone application last month. So this is a separate request out of the previously large parcel of land that existed last spring. And when we had the initial conversation with the applicant, we advised them that because of the current conditions and the most recent changes along Highway 95, there were quite a few rezones and divisions of land in the course of last decade and a half. And so their proposal seemed to be consistent with having a more intense development, potentially with the rezones along the major thoroughfare, and having residential development further west, where it would be isolated from the traffic and the ambient noise associated with the state highway. So the applicant proceeded in that regard. They basically decided that they would create a less intense development further west with a rezone and more intense development along Old Highway 95 for better accessibility and compatibility with more intense uses all along Highway 95. They're a mix of residential, light industrial, and commercial parcels all along this corridor. So the current zoning on this property is rural. As I said, these parcels are currently undergoing a zone change. There will be a hearing before the Board of County Commissioners next month to consider this by the Board of County Commissioners. And should it be approved, this parcel will become light industrial, this will become commercial, and this one will remain rural with the proposed 6-lot major subdivision application. The comp plan designation is suburban. This is the proposed layout of the subdivision. What the applicant intends to do is they intend to extend Wrangler Road right-of-way, which is a public right-of-way under the jurisdiction of Lakes Highway District, up to the point where they will have this cul-de-sac turnaround. And beyond this point, there will be only a total of 4 lots that will gain access via a common driveway extension. So these 4 southern lots will have direct access off of the common driveway, whereas the 2 northeastern lots will have access off of extension of Wrangler Road. The road, once improved to the Associated Highway District standards, will be turned over to Lakes Highway District for maintenance purposes, but the common driveway will be turned over to the owners through either an HOA if they choose to create one, or they could record a separate document, a common driveway maintenance agreement that will have to be reflected on the face of the preliminary plat, final plat, to maintain and upkeep this common driveway. The applicant also proposes to have individual wells on each of the 6 lots, as well as individual septic and drain fields. These are some of the photos of the property in question. A portion of it has trees on it, while I believe the southern portion of it is bare of any trees. During the agency comment period, we solicited comments from the list of jurisdictional agencies that you see on screen. Really, no one had any concerns. The typical conditions were from the Highway District that the applicant enter into a road development agreement to improve the road as well as chip seal it and then turn it over to the Highway District. The remaining agencies really had no concerns or future approval of septic systems on each lot. During the public comment period, we got only 2 comments, one in support and one in opposition. One in opposition would raise concerns regarding increased traffic on Wrangler Road, water supply constraints, noise levels, and effects on property values. Yes, with every subdivision application, that would be increasing traffic, and that's a given. With regards to water supply constraints or concerns, the property is located over the Rathdrum Prairie Aquifer. We reviewed the groundwater quantity report that's required per Kootenai County Land Use and Development Code. And the conclusions of the geologist stated that there is sufficient water supply because it's over the aquifer, and there shouldn't be any issue with each of the newly drilled well to provide minimum flow rate of 5 gallons per minute flow for a period of 4 hours and a minimum of 1,500 gallons per day. So we didn't see any concerns with that. Noise levels, I'm not sure how noise levels with a residential subdivision could be an issue. Had this been a commercial development or light industrial, then potentially more intense uses would likely be problematic. But as I stated, because the applicant is doing that development and rezones closer to Old Highway 95 and State Highway 95, really staff does not see a compatibility issue, especially if you look back at the development pattern. You have a number of parcels to the west and to the north that are zoned agricultural suburban that are 5 acres in size. This development will basically have the same level of intensity of development of one dwelling per 5 acres. This is because all this property is located over the aquifer and requires a minimum of 5 acres per lot, with a maximum wastewater discharge of 250 gallons per minute. And so that really is not an issue that we felt was prudent to further discuss or potentially recommend denial of their request as we move forward with the process. Based on review of the comprehensive plan, the suburban designation goals and objectives are to encourage the development of underutilized large parcels of land, and we feel that the proposed development will be spot on with the objectives of that designation to create residential development consistent with what's in the area as well as the comp plan. For that reason, we support this application and do not see any reason for denial at this time. I stand for any questions that you have for me.
Sure. Thanks for your presentation. Guess just a couple of quick questions for right now. Well, I guess one just maybe half out of curiosity. So I did see that the highway district is going to require the applicant to alter the existing cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
So does that basically just mean they're going to get rid of the bulb outs and turn it in? I'm just curious what that means.
I actually read that, and I wasn't concerned about it simply because the highway district will oversee the improvements, and they will basically advise the applicant on what specifically needs to be done to remove the existing asphalted cul-de-sac or to modify it and create just a standard 60-foot, a 24-foot wide paved road to extend all the way out to the new cul-de-sac. So this is not something that our department oversees. This is done by the highway district with jurisdiction.
Absolutely, that's okay. You don't have to go on to. I was a little bit curious about that. I hadn't seen that before. And I understand that that's within the jurisdiction of the highway district. So that's okay. I just was wondering if you knew any more particulars besides the language and their proposed conditions. So that's okay. My other one, maybe a little more substantively. So I did see. So it looked like for the wells and I forget if this was in the quantity report. I did see part of your staff report as well that they said, yeah, water drought levels will be fine so long as no greater than half of an acre is landscaped or.
That's a standard. Okay. That's a standard protocol. This is typically something that's imposed by Idaho Department of Water Resources as well, due to the water right requirements with junior and senior water rights being adjudicated to each property owner. Because this property has individual wells, Idaho Department of Water Resources doesn't really have the need to review this type of application. They're more curious about the shared wells, connection to existing private systems or public water systems. That's when they are more likely to comment and create more stringent regulations, or at least acknowledgements in the CCNRs or on the face of plat that there should be no more than half an acre irrigated on the property. But with this application, we didn't see the need to solicit comments from IDWR.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have for you right now, so thank you. Okay, is it Mr. Terzulli for the applicant, or, okay, all right.
All right, good evening, Mr. Granrath. For the record, Jeremy Terzulli, I'm a land use consultant here in Kootenai County, collaborating with Olson Engineering tonight on behalf of our RFI LLC, a property owner. Also here tonight, and we do have the engineer of record if we have any technical questions for him, so.
Can we use the microphone? His voice is not
The-
hearing.
Is it not getting picked up?
Let's see what I can do to move this. It's very slidey up here. Is that any better?
No, not really.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault.
Got too much stuff there. Is that any better?
I don't believe so.
I-
I'm so sorry.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, but you're also pointed towards me.
Projecting this way. I could try to stand sideways and maybe it'll project a little better.
There you go.
All right, how about we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, again, Jeremy Terzulli. I'm a local land use consultant with Olson Engineering tonight. The staff report is very comprehensive, as you saw. It kind of touches on all the points and all of our criteria to recommend approval of this project, but I'm going to try to expand on a few of those. Rather than go through them one at a time, it becomes a sea of words up there. I sort of bounce around and hit the points that I think are relevant or perhaps could use a little bit of clarification. So we'll just move through it as quick as I can. So Kootenai County Code does have some pretty extensive standards of approval. The first portion of that does only talk about the application and whether or not that's complete, and all of the codes have been met with regard to noticing of the property and the completeness review. And so that's sort of out of our hands, but to assure everyone, we don't get to this point if staff has not deemed it to be a complete application with all of the components required for a subdivision request, as well as the preliminary plan. There's a bunch of code sections that talk about the requirements of the plan. The surveyors, the engineers, and county staff go over all that stuff. And again, we don't get to the point of public hearing if all of those things haven't been vetted and proof that it is a complete application and all of the components of the subdivision plan are included in the preliminary plat and the surveyor's records. So that covers actually a huge section of that, and then some additional review criteria. Can the project comply with requirements from agencies of jurisdiction or the agencies providing services? Well, any of those conditions are added into the staff report. We've read those conditions. We're fine with those conditions, and we can incorporate those into any governing documents and government CCNRs of the project. They weren't very extensive. To further, the main jurisdiction here that we're working with is going to be the Highway District. And to sort of answer your question, Director Shanley had indicated that because there will be a cul-de-sac further down the road, that the bulbs of that cul-de-sac should be removed, making it a consistent section all the way through, and that'll all be reclaimed. The biggest reason is maintenance. So when it comes to maintenance, they want to be able to just have the plow go down one side, swing around and come back down the other side. At that location of the old cul-de-sac, there actually is a driveway, a couple of driveways it looks like. And so the Highway District would have to make multiple maneuvers there for snow removal. to keep that driveway cleared out. In collaboration with the highway district, what we would do is take those out, reclaim the land with the standard swales on the side, extend that residence driveway to meet up. And the bonus to a couple of those property owners is they sort of get a little piece of property back. So to answer your question and talk further about agencies having jurisdiction, a lot of people don't understand that the engineers, the applicant, staff, we don't just come in here and say where access should be or how we would like to design this. There are standards, and before we've even put forth an application with the county, in most cases, we've coordinated with the highway districts, we've coordinated with these agencies so that our plan is not being redone. We already know what conditions they're likely to put on it, so we're being preemptive when we do that. And again, as far as access to the subdivision, that is sort of dictated by the highway district. We don't make up where we want access from, so that's often dictated by master transportation plans, what the highway district likes to see out there. And there's a lot of coordination that goes on behind the scenes before we get to this point. So just to clarify on that. And then other agencies that commented, again, from sheriff to emergency services, minimal impact, if any, for 6 additional homes on 5-acre lots that's already served by a public right-of-way. Panhandle Health District, at this point, they really don't have a lot to say, but our firm works with Panhandle Health District on every one of our projects. We're very familiar with what their requirements will be. And again, we're not making stuff up. They have guidelines that we design by, so it does become kind of a formality on the back end that we will meet their standards. And then we had several agencies that were neutral or this was outside of their jurisdiction or had no comment. Additionally, in our review criteria, there is a section in there that talks about open space. The fact that these are 5-acre lots, recreating typically occurs on those 5-acre lots. The wildlife is going to be able to move freely because they're not going to be fully developed lots. It's going to look very similar to the surrounding development with large open spaces, pastures, horse corrals, those types of things out there. Additionally, the property is south of Bar Circle S and sort of wedged between 2 major transportation corridors. And the reason I point that out is that, yeah, there is certainly wildlife in the area. There's a herd of elk that rolls through there, I know, from time to time. There's deer. However, as far as displacing wildlife, it's not really the case at this location. And as with regard to any timber production, there's no timber production in the area at this time, and there's none anticipated.
Can you talk a little bit about the wildfire mitigation plan? That's one of the conditions.
Yeah. So
sorry if you were going to get to that and I beat you to it.
No, we can go over that right now. The wildfire mitigation plan is a pretty standard thing when you're along an urban wooded area interface. And so typically what it talks about is those fire breaks from residential areas. They put out some guidelines and we'll have no problem meeting that wildfire mitigation. And I have a slide a little further on where you can see to the north, some of the lots are more open and grass and some of them are still fairly densely treed. Selective harvesting will happen for home sites here. We'll create those margins around structures, houses, shops, those types of things so that wildfire does happen to come into the area, that it's not, hopefully it doesn't jump. But we are familiar with those, and that tends to come more further downstream when we move to the building permit. So, and the thing that everyone around here should know at this point in time, I actually, side note, but it's relevant. I was part of a presentation a couple of months ago with some insurance providers in the area, and insurance providers are going to be fairly critical of people's defensible area around their homes. And so we're going to make sure when the builder is selected and is going to build out here that those homes are going to be safe from any potential wildfire risk. With regard to mitigation of any environmental and social economic impacts, well, again, that's what the agency period is for, and we work with those agencies all the time. We understand what their concerns are going to be, including the highway district. The highway district does collect some in lieu of fees to help improve the roadways throughout the district. The developer will be building the section of road, taking out that cul-de-sac area, all at his expense. There is a warranty period before the highway district will take it over, and he has to warranty it for a period of time. And then again, there's those in lieu of fees per lot that the district will apply towards roadways that directly or indirectly serve this development in order to maintain good quality transportation in the area. I touched on the fact that the developer on his dime will be putting in any of the roadways, the swales, those types of things, those additional fees that are collected, and then as well, once the finished product is there and a new homeowner, a new resident moves in, they will become part of the tax base of Kootenai County that pays for things like police and emergency services and all those types of things, well as snow removal. I did see some of the public comment regard to traffic, and as Vlad pointed out, anytime you add one additional home, there's a very high likelihood that that's going to put one or two more cars on that roadway. 6 additional residential lots in here is a very minimal impact on Wrangler. I think I counted 22 or 24 residences that are currently served by Wrangler. These additional 6 will not push it over the threshold of the fire department needing a second point of ingress and egress, which is actually really good for everybody because this literally becomes the end of the road of Wrangler. It's not going to connect to Old 95. It's not going to connect to 53. Improvements will be made along the way, and then this becomes, in essence, full build-out of Wrangler, these 6 additional residences. And I already touched on the fact that Lakes Highway District will collect extra fees to ensure if Wrangler's going to need chip sealing and that sort of thing, that they will have the monies to do that. Another review criteria, in essence, summarized is this subdivision consistent with the surrounding area? And I think this says it all. And this was also that slide I was talking about that shows some of the more densely treed area, lots versus some that are more open and grassy. 5 and 10 acre residences surrounding this area, this becoming the terminus to Wrangler Road, representing in essence full build out of this area. We strongly believe that it blends seamlessly with the area. And what's not shown on this slide is if you go up along Old Highway 95, it's the same thing. As you get to Old 95, all of those lots that front Old 95 to the north, all the way up to Garwood, are all zoned light industrial and commercial, have those little businesses and shops, little welding shops, the Roto-Rooter guys are up there, all these little local business owners front 95, and then it's all single family residences in here. So we believe that it just absolutely blends seamlessly with the area. So in summary, I think that the staff report touches on every part of county code and how we are in compliance with that. As I pointed out, we believe that it fits seamlessly with the surrounding area. The comprehensive plan is very clear that this designation and this use works within the comprehensive plan. Traffic impacts are going to be incredibly minimal along Wrangler and then ultimately out onto Garwood. We've got utilities throughout the area. They'll be easy to just extend utilities down Wrangler. Water can be provided, and we touched on this, Vlad did a bit. We got the groundwater report knowing that we could get individual wells, and to your point that Department of Water Resources is who dictates a half acre of irrigating your yard and no more without being, having to upgrade what you consider an individual private well. Our wish, and we've been in collaboration with Gem State Water District, we're adjacent to their district. We do understand that they have a moratorium right now and have for quite some time, and water in Gem State can be a little sketchy. Our goal is to work with them to try to upgrade this whole area of their water system. We do have some underlying water rights. So if we can work out a deal with Gem State to improve this entire area, perhaps punch in another well for their system, creating some redundancy, the entire area will benefit from those upgrades, as well as the developer. So we're openly communicating with Gem State to try to strike a deal, let's say. But we did go ahead and ensure that there is water available if we go ahead and put in 6 individual wells. And Mr. Mullins' water report indicated, sufficient water in the area. I do know that some people have concerns about groundwater and the aquifer. I can assure you, Panhandle Health District's requirements are above and beyond to help protect that. New septic systems that go in are state-of-the-art, might not be the right word, but they're very efficient. It ensures that water, by the time it reaches back into the aquifer, has been properly treated. It's the same as all the people on Bar Circle S. They all have individual septic systems that were designed to health district standards. So Panhandle Health is standing there to ensure that groundwater quality is preserved in the area. And then just of note, county staff has reviewed this extensively and agrees with us and has recommended approval of this subdivision. So with that, I stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think the couple questions I had for you, you answered during your presentation.
Okay?
So unless you have any other
Glad
of
that's a
your,
question.
oh, okay.
I guess I'll come up to the podium. I would like to clarify for the record for the public as well as Mr. Terzulli that while Mr. Terzulli's accurate that they potentially have the option of pursuing a connection to Gem State Water, because this application was submitted as only being able to be served by individual wells, the code has specific requirements for that type of proposal, is that we get a groundwater quantity report that addresses the potential for having sufficient water supply by drilling individual wells on site. If the applicant were to pursue connection to a public water system, that triggers another set of requirements, which we did not address through this process. Specifically, it requires a will serve letter from the water purveyor, which in this case, Mr. Terzulli stated that that's not an option because of the moratorium. The reason I bring this up is perhaps in your analysis, if you wanted to clarify that between now and final plat approval application that can be submitted within a 2-year period after the approval of this preliminary plat, if the applicant is able to obtain not only a will serve letter from Gem State Water, but as well as approval from DEQ for conceptual engineering and extension of the water main, as well as PhD approval that agency ultimately signs the Mylars, that could potentially be considered a minor modification and not require the applicant to go through a second public hearing process if it were to be considered a major change to the preliminary approval. If you were to consider that, you could certainly put that in your analysis, say that if the applicant is able to obtain that documentation, it should be considered a minor change. Otherwise, they would have to go back to ground zero. And that would be something that we as a department would have to make a decision on. So wanted to make sure that you were aware of that as well as the public.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll think about that for right now. If I can come up with something cogent before the end of the hearing, we can bring it up and discuss it before then. But I'll move us on for now. But that's a good suggestion. Do you want to comment on that at all, Mr. Terzulli?
Yeah, I just think that is solid of Vlad for pointing that out, that it would be considered a major amendment to a previously approved preliminary plat. And if you find that working with the Gem State Water District is to be considered a minor amendment to the approval, I I think it's just Vlad looking out for us, and I appreciate that. We certainly have the ability to punch in wells, but I think it could be better for everybody if we work gem state. So I guess I would just second that maybe you can come up with something cogent
Okay.
to add into your analysis and deem that a minor amendment if we choose to go that route.
Okay.
And then I'm still here for any additional questions.
All right, and did any of your other applicant representatives want to testify at this point? I don't have any specific questions for them, but,
No, I like to bring the engineer of record along because he's the one with the technical knowledge, and then my client, a local builder, local developer, in case you have any specific questions for him. But at this time, I think we'll just hold tight.
okay. All right, I'll move us to the public comment portion of tonight's hearing. And again, I am just going to go in the order that I have them here. Most of them, many of them say may wish to speak, some say do not wish to speak, but even if you wrote or marked do not wish to speak, I'm gonna ask because now is gonna be your only opportunity to give public testimony, and get it in the record. When I do call your name, let me know if you wanna speak. If you do, if I could have you come up to the microphone, or sir, we could, if you do end up wanting to testify, we can give you the microphone. But before you testify, just have you state your name and address for the record. And then you'll have up to 5 minutes. Okay, so I have Jim Small, top list. Would you like to speak, sir?
Yes, I would.
Okay,
Jim Small, 1736 North Wrangler Road.
okay,
Our concern is traffic. I've always figured 2.5 to 3 cars per house. So we're talking maybe 16, just how cars going back and forth that we haven't had yet. And like I said, we've lived there since 1990, and it's kind of a quiet neighborhood, and now we're gonna see trucks, like cement trucks, lumber trucks, the whole ball of wax. And being an ex-contractor, I can understand that, but it's kind of a quiet place, and we like to keep it like that. As far as that cul-de-sac, that's, I believe, has been removed. That tells me that we're gonna plan another road here shortly down to the light industrial. Otherwise, why have it?
He can't answer that.
And as far as wildlife goes, there's a bunch of wildlife in there, and I believe housing is not gonna take a lot of it away, but it's gonna take some. We have elk, deer, moose, bear. So we're concerned about that. And we've, a lot of us have used that trail, where it goes past Lynn's house to the left. We've used that trail for 30 years, walking dogs and horses and stuff, so I'm concerned with those.
okay. Thank you, and I'll say again that, staff and the applicant will have an opportunity to respond or answer questions, so, and I may direct them to answer some of them as well, so thank you for your testimony, sir. Okay, Melody Small, would you like to testify, ma'am?
Melody Small, 17316 North Wrangler Road, Rathdrum. Jim has expressed some of my concerns, but our neighborhood, that little bit that goes to the cul-de-sac, is only 16 houses. So it is not 24. That's on the other side of Garwood Road, the continuation. There are more. But I guess the concern is the traffic, the water, just a lot. I wish we could have been notified better instead of having it be word of mouth. The whole neighborhood, because we are on a cul-de-sac, should have been notified that we were going to have more on our street rather than just the adjacent lots. They received notification, and then it became word of mouth in our neighborhood. So I think that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Cheryl Shaw, may wish to speak.
Shaw, 658 Ranch Court, Rathdrum.
Okay.
My concern is the wildlife, of course, and the traffic, and my main concern is the water source. If they're not gonna do wells, they're gonna be going into the water source that we're using with Gem State, and our water source is, I don't know what the right word is, kind of compromised. We're already in the morning when we use water in the morning, we're always have a shortage. So I want to know how it's going to affect everybody that already is using that water. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Martina Sanders.
Hi, Martina Sanders, 17113 North Wrangler Road. My concerns are, first of all, Gem State Water applied for a huge rate increase, which of course they got. They said they were going to improve the system. They did not do that at all. Everyone has worse water than we've ever had before. They also approved an extension to Dolan Road, which is nearby, and added, I don't know, how many houses are on Dolan? 20 houses? Maybe 20 new houses on 5 acres each, which has tapped every old existing property's water. In the mornings, we don't have enough to do sprinklers or even sometimes dishes. You have to kind of time it if it's in the summer. I know you're supposed to conserve water, but Gem State is lousy, horrible. And if they tap into Gem State, we will have no water. It's a horrible company. And all they do is price increases and say they will improve everything, and they've not done one improvement. Next, if the subdivision goes through, our concern is all the traffic back and forth, of course, but we also do not want it to go to Old 95 or ever get punched through to Highway 53, because if people that are commuting want to take a shortcut or something, we're just going to have a ton of traffic coming down our street. I don't know if the industrial section that they want to add along the side, which is conducive to the environment, I don't know, hopefully not, if they'll be able to access that little road and come down Wrangler to get out of there, or if it will just be driveways to Old 95, which would be best. There is wildlife there. I know I've walked my dogs, ridden my horses, saw a mountain lion, herd of elk have jumped across all of our properties. I'm sure the subdivision will go through and not take that in consideration, but there is wildlife. When they do the construction, instead of having tons of trucks coming up and down our street, that's going to probably jeopardize our thin little street, and then the road department will have to come and fix that. I don't know if there's a way to request with the developers or you if the big heavy equipment can come in off of Old 95 and go to there while they're doing their thing. I don't know if that's a valid request, but that is my request. And does anyone know, I'm sure someone knows, will this be required to have the same builder for all the houses like the subdivision that was put in down Dolan, or will it be different build, any build, you choose your builder and that's fine. That's just a curiosity question. And those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Boatwright, you did indicate you do not wish to speak. Is that still true?
They're saying it all.
Okay. Lynn Flora says do not wish to speak. Is that still true?
I don't really wish to speak, but I would, add emphasis to everything that's been said.
Okay, thank you. And as well, Emmett Flora does not wish to speak.
Same here.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and I don't know if you came in, were you two here did you want to give testimony?
We're new.
Okay,
We had the opportunity, but I think we would just concur.
okay, thank you. I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to be heard. Okay, so I believe that is everyone who's here from the public to give public testimony. So I do want to give an opportunity for the applicant and or county staff to maybe answer some of the questions or expand on some of the topics that were brought up.
Mr.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. I guess we do have
I just wanted to make sure the phone callers had an opportunity. I don't hear anybody. Is there anybody on the phone lines? No.
Okay, if that happens, we'll patch them in, and I guess we have a phone connection now instead of Zoom. So, okay, all right, go ahead.
All right, again, for the record, Jeremy Terzulli. I'll try to help assuage some of these concerns to the best of my ability. That's the microphone, that's not gonna help me. I wanna go back to the proposed plat, and I know it's hard to see, but I got a little pointer here. This right here would be the extension. So I don't remember the gentleman's name that talked about guaranteed we're gonna punch this through. How I would like to rebut that is guaranteed we're not gonna punch this through. This all becomes individually owned properties. If you look at Wrangler right here, there was a God, why am I so shaky? There's a reservation when Bar Circle S was platted, ensuring that Wrangler could be extended at some point in the future if further subdivision was to occur. That's usually dictated by county staff, the highway district. Agencies having jurisdiction will say, you have to preserve future connectivity. That requirement did not come with our subdivision because all agencies, in essence, recognize this is the end of the road. Commercial development is not compatible with residential development. Connecting commercial to the residences, it's not going to happen. There's no easements being preserved along those lot lines. There's no future connectivity. Right-of-way dedication being required by the highway district unless something came in late. This is the end of the road. It will not connect to the commercial or the industrial, which is sound planning. They recognize this is the end of the residential. So hopefully that clears that point up a little bit. Now, so I tried to touch on this in my presentation, and I do understand. I truly understand. A lot of the residents, they hear about this 15, 30 days ago. Our team and staff and the agencies with jurisdiction, we've been on this project for a year. So they do sometimes feel like, oh, not enough information was presented, or we're just gonna do what we wanna do. The highway district dictates where our access points are gonna be. We really don't have a whole lot of say in that. As far as a temporary construction access off of Old 95, I think that would likely be preferred. But again, we have to ask for an encroachment permit from the highway district. We can't just say we're gonna start ramming trucks off the road here at Old 95 to serve this subdivision. It's preferable. I think that, but again, we have to work with the highway district to ensure that we could do that. And with regard to the construction traffic, whenever you're gonna put in a subdivision, build a few homes, most certainly. Lumber packages need to get delivered, concrete trucks need to go through there. It's no different than if somebody were to decide to build a 40 by 60 shop on their property. There's gonna be lumber deliveries, and that is gonna occur, but that's gonna be a very short time frame until the homes are built. And then the traffic impact after that, per my read of recent traffic impact analysis that I've done on other projects, much more intense than this, and engineers will provide traffic letters. It in essence equates to 1 or 2 peak hour trips per day per lot. So we're kind of talking somewhere in that 6 to 10 trips during those peak hours when people are leaving, coming and going to work. Once we have 6 new homes here, assuming we get to that point. So the quiet road that these people have enjoyed for many years, I actually knew Phil Dolan before he died, who developed this, worked with the Dolan family for years. I understand, this was a well-done subdivision, he did a great job. This represents full build out in this area, and this will continue to be a quiet road. There will be a little bit of disruption during construction. That's undeniable, and I would be a liar if I stood up here and told you that they wouldn't. If we can work with the highway district to create a temporary construction access off of Old 95, we will certainly entertain that, because I do respect their peace and their privacy, and I know that, you know, my client does as well. So if we can work and be good neighbors, we want to get off on the right foot. So hopefully that addresses that. And again, like notification requirements, we do everything that is required by state law of notifying with a 300-foot radius around the property. So we're not trying to hide anything. That's just what's required by law. We put it in as part of our application package, and then the county sends out the letters, posts the property, puts it in the newspaper, does all the things that we're required to do. So we did that. And after some of the comment, we might want to not work with the water district, but ironically, many years ago, I used to live on the other side of 95 up on Ridgeway Lane, and I had Gem State Water. And when I lived there, they got some grant money to get a backup generator for the system. And I don't know if it was system-wide or if it was just my area of the system. And it was a big celebration the day we got that backup generator, because when the power used to go out, which was all the freaking time, we didn't have water either. So we had generators, we backed it up, but still we didn't have water because we couldn't put our power to the, but we learned. That generator came online, and in the first month, the diesel motor blew its guts, and we were back to not having backup in this. I remember it. So that's just an amusing anecdote, nothing else. But our collaboration with Gem State would be to provide actual upgrades to the system, because my client doesn't want to build new homes and provide some commercial development in collaboration with a water district that can't supply the development. So it's going to be, yes, this whole area gets upgrades, fire hydrants are going to get fire flows, system is going to be improved, or we'll just stick with individual wells. So, and with regard to the wildlife, yeah, I mean, I know there's wildlife in this area. There's wildlife everywhere. If you look at that slide on the screen right now, it's gonna be very similar to what's north and west of here. The wildlife will continue to migrate through this area with very little encumbrance. It's, as far as displacing them completely out of the area, it's simply not going to happen. So hopefully that answers a few questions. Again, we think that this represents orderly development, and the residents along Wrangler can be assured this is the end of the road. So that's all I have.
Okay.
Could I just
Thank you.
One more comment? Or may we ask questions at this time?
I generally don't allow it, but if we can try to keep it to maybe one or two points that you have. I also, perhaps Mr. Terzulli would be able to answer specific questions after the hearing.
Do that too.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, unless you think there's another topic area that you want him to address?
I don't know whether he's aware or not, but I walk back there. I'm the last house.
She's in the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
She's the
She's the driveway here.
Why don't you come up to the podium?
Yeah,
Get it on
okay.
record.
Yeah, if you could just state your name and you can give your comments. This is why we want to have public comments, and you can say and this is an opportunity for me to hear it too, so.
My name is Lynn Floria, and I live at 16897 North Wrangler Road, Rathdrum. And I walk back there twice a day, every day, and on Sunday, somebody was back there shooting. And it sounds to me like a cannon. I mean, it's really loud. And they had a target set up, and they left all their garbage. They left all the shells and whatever it is they're shooting at. It's like the things that they fling up into the air. They've been shooting. Anyway, I just want the owners now to be aware that that's taking place. It made me uncomfortable. So,
I heard it too.
yeah,
We all did. It's in the part where they dug up for the road.
yeah.
The houses, what's going to happen? Is it a custom? Okay.
Okay, I have no more questions for you.
All right, very good. And we'll just,
Hopefully that's not you out there shooting pigeons, so.
they're not real pigeons,
Oh,
they're
okay.
clay pigeons. You've never shot skeet?
I have not, I have not.
You're missing it.
Mr. Finkel, is there anything else or anything else from county staff before I close the record? Any other administrative matters? Okay. All right, I do believe I have enough information in the record on which to base my recommendation to your county commissioners. Again, I have 2 weeks. I try to get it done before then, but it's usually 2 weeks. I'll submit it to county staff, and then they'll set it to go in front of your county commissioners for the ultimate decision on this matter. But with that, I have 6:56. I'm going to close the record for MSP 25-0005, and we are now adjourned. Thank you.